Well, good morning. Hopefully I'm live. Welcome guys to the big shoe. Hang on here. I've got to pull the deal up here, and there we go. All right. Good morning. Now everybody's coming up. Let's see. 10 people online so far. We've got 11 nodes hooked up. Hopefully this is going to be a big shoe. Tell your friends. Let's see. Started taking check-ins early a few minutes ago on the radio. So, we've got a few,
GMRS.
we got a few in there. All right, Garrett, good morning. I'm going to log you in. K6UDA. So, let me go over here. N7 GRS. There's my boy Garrett. All plugged in. Let's see. So good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, today I think we're going to talk about teaching new preppers. It's easy to teach new hams because they've already taken the initiative to learn radio skills or some radio skills. It is a whole nother thing to take new preppers or take people that are into prepping and teach them the radio skills. You know, honestly, it seems that radio skills are way down on the list when it comes to prepping. Everybody thinks I can go out and buy a Bowfang for $20 and I'm good. And I'll put it away. I'll put it in my Faraday cage or I'll stick it in my bag for the big emergency. And they go on with life. To me, it's kind of like those people who buy a gun, load it, and put it in their nightstand and never look at it again. Never shoot it. Never look at it. Let's see. Jeff, I'm going to log you in. KD8IOK. I'm going to log you in on NetLogger and I'm going to make you a logger. So let me do that. KD8IOK. And let me see if I can't set portable, set net official, set logger status. All right. KD8IOK. You should actually now be able to log on NetLogger. So hopefully, Jeff, you know how to use NetLogger because I just made you a logger. I'm going to also make Terry, I'm going to set him up as a logger. He hasn't been able to get in and do it. So I haven't really been worried about him. Let's see. Let's see who's in the house. KB9UPY, Tim, talked to him on the radio a little bit ago. Rodney, KD5, HKQ, and Son, James. Welcome, guys. Pamela's in the house. Pamela is one of our admins, both here and on Discord. Thanks, Pamela, for everything you do. That's awesome. Peter, good morning. Good morning to you. Roy says hi. Shell Stange, KD8 LGZ. Good morning, and good morning to you. Lieutenant Colonel William Buck Travis. Good morning, KJ7 FIQ from Park City. Our neighbors right there in Park City. Let's see. Howdy from far, far north Idaho. KJ7 FVV. Hey, good morning up there in, where are you, in Bonner County? If you're far, far north. Let's see. What else? Oh man, I'm missing a whole bunch. All right. Gene says, good morning from Texas. The melt. The melt from AmCon. The People's Republic of California, Stan. Don't you just love that? You know, I mean, that is really stuck. That's got to be something that everybody is laughing at. And the people that are stuck in California, half of them wear it as a badge of honor when they say that. And the other half are highly offended. They're just so offended by it. It's horrible. Horrible that we would disparage their wonderful state with the People's Republic. Maybe not, because they're all a bunch of friggin' communists. Anyway, 43 people in the stream this morning so far. Very nice. We got 2 minutes before the official start of the net. I got 11 nodes online. You could see them up in the top left-hand side of your screen if you have access to Wires X. If you've got one of these little cool little Yaesu radios, you too can get on. You just find a Wires X enabled repeater in your area. Redirect that repeater or talk to the repeater owner and tell them you want to get on the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. You want to get on the Idaho Command. Oh, a thumbs down. Oh, I'm wounded. I'm so wounded. 1 minute to go before we get the big net going here. Mr. Trek Fan Dan says good morning. Further north than Boundary County. Let's see. From Kenosha, 7 miles from Canuckia. Oh, that's pretty freaking far north. That is pretty far north. You don't want to go into Canuckia because bad things happen in Canuckia. Let's see. Good morning from Minnesota. Unfortunately, it won't let me log without a password. Crap. I can't remember it. Try 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Show me on this doll where the thumbs down hurt you. Oh, my kid is just killing me. That's freaking awesome. Garrett, That is freaking awesome. All right, guys, time for me to pick up the mic. I'll get back to you guys after the big show. And let's see here. I've got to get to this one. There we go. All right, everybody. Good morning from the great state of Idaho at the Southern Idaho Command, and welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. This net meets every Saturday morning, 0900 hours Mountain Time, on the K6UDA repeater located in Twin Falls. This is a digital-only net accessible via WiresX room 40448, the Idaho Command, and YSF reflector 56026, the YouTubers. Also available locally here in the Magic Valley on the Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater 145.17. And local hams without digital access can monitor, or they can actually participate on the 442.00 in analog mode. The purpose of this net is a free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and technique. I'm looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on any of these various subjects. If you have material you'd like to present or discuss, when you check in, please indicate that you have a subject. Although not primarily political, discussion of relative political, cultural, or religious events are welcome in the context of situational awareness and survival. In order to give everyone the opportunity to be heard and do check-ins effectively, I'm going to do check-ins in the following order. I'll ask for local repeater check-ins, WiresX check-ins, YSF check-ins, and then we'll do some live stream check-ins. You're encouraged to check in with your first name, call sign, location, and how you're getting into the net, whether it's the local repeater, WiresX, YSF. That being said, do we have any local check-ins? That is on any of the local repeaters. How about WiresX? WiresX check-ins.
0 Oscar Hotel Uniform. This is Sean from Grizzly, Minnesota, and this time I'm on WiresX on TDN mode on FT5D.
Outstanding, Sean. Thanks for checking in. WiresX check-ins. Any more WiresX?
IH. Name here is Tim from UK, accessing.
Tim, we got you in there, and thanks for checking in. WiresX check-ins. WiresX. All right, how about YSF? YSF check-ins. All right, Tim, got you in there. It was very choppy. Couldn't understand anything. But I did copy you and got you logged in. Any more Wires X? Well, let's just open it up. Anybody want to check in? Anybody, anywhere?
Kilo Juliet 7, Romeo Alpha Romeo. Terry Central. On the repeater.
Kilo November 6, Echo Vic, Quebec, Mark in Patterson, California on YSF.
EVQ. All right. Terry got you in there. Mark, KN6 EVQ got you in there. And welcome. One more round of check-ins for this time. Anybody, anywhere? Okay. With that out of the way, let's see. Few loose ends here. After the net, those of us on the live stream, and this is being live streamed onto YouTube. Those of us on the live stream are going to, or can move over to the Discord server and have an actual discussion. I'm only going to be able to discuss for a few minutes this morning because this morning starts the Idaho QSO party, and I got to get out to Studio B and get everything set up over there to start running the contest. Speaking of that, noon today, the Idaho QSO party Spud Run begins. It runs from 12 noon today to tomorrow at 1300 hours Mountain Daylight Time, because we get that time change in the middle. Idaho stations can work other Idaho counties as well as any state or Canadian province. Any place in North America can work any Idaho station on 80, 40, 20, 15, or 10 meters. I didn't see anything. People were asking me if UHF, VHF non-repeater contacts were allowed, and I was looking at the rules, and it didn't say anything about it. So I don't know what to tell you. Log your contacts and send them in. Let's see. A couple of sit reps that I wanted to get out there. From New York. The governor of New York, Hochul, whatever. She has called up an additional 150 National Guard troops to New York City to conduct bag checks and other security members after their crime rate has skyrocketed in the city. This brings the total guard activated to just under 2,500 personnel. Critics are concerned, critics like me, are concerned that this is looking a lot like the imposition of martial law. These are no search warrant, unwarranted, unconstitutional searches of people's persons, and they're not targeting the bad guys. Those in New York City need to be aware that until martial law is formally declared, all of your constitutional rights are in effect. And it didn't sound like we had anybody from New York, so I guess that doesn't matter. And this is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. On the other side of the country, in California. They are now inching at a very fast rate a new gun registration bill. Yeah. Let's see. It is working its way to the governor's desk. SB 1160 will require annual registration of all firearms in the state. A per firearm fee will be required. As of right now, unknown how much that fee will be, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's $50 to $100 per gun. Non-compliance will result in a $1,000 per instance fine. So if you have, let's see, 10 guns, and you say I'm not registering those, and you don't, or you miss a year because whatever, that could be a $10,000 fine. Let's see. So yeah, a gun owner with 30 assorted firearms could conceivably be required to pay $3,000 per year with a fee of $100 per gun. The fine for failure to register could conceivably cost a staggering $30,000 as a civil infraction. How will they know? Well, as many of you might know, California has had long history. Well, I won't say long history, but about a 30-year history of the most complete backdoor gun registration in the country. They have their own registration system, and they're trying to pick up all the old guns from years before when people did not have to register their guns. They're trying to pick all that stuff up. And hey, we all know that gun registration always has led to gun confiscation. And I imagine that this is no different. So, anything legally purchased in the state of California in the last 30 years has a permanent record attached to it, and the state will assume that you still own that gun if you haven't sold it through a gun dealer or turned it into the police. Right now, it's still a bill. So there is time, if you're in the People's Republic of California, to contact your elected officials and express your displeasure of this blatantly unconstitutional bills. Do we need any fills? Or do we have any comments or any other situation reports from anybody on the radio? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into our main topic today. So I was recently a part of an AmCon discussion about how best to teach new hams and those considering it for preparedness about what steps to take and why they should be learning the art of radio. One of these new guys said that he hates it when he asks an Elmer what he needs to buy or what he needs to do next, and the Elmer, the teacher or mentor, responds with, "Well, it depends," which to me is the most logical. It's the most logical question to ask somebody. Let's see. So it got me thinking. So is it better to ask what got you interested enough to study for and get your license? And ask maybe what are your expectations of ham radio? How do you think ham radio will help in your preparedness? So there's a lot of reasons that people get licensed in the first place. Some of the reasons that I have heard is prepping, the 4x4 thing, or horseback riding, hunting, outdoor sports kind of thing. Joining some kind of an organization like AMCON, like the Red Cross. Neither one of them require it, but highly encourage getting a ham radio license. And then there's the people that are curious about radio. So let me just open it real quick. What do you think if you're a more experienced person, or you've been into ham radio a little bit longer, and you've got the new person that's asking you, or asking the theoretical Elmer, what do they need to buy, or what do they need to do next? How should we respond? Let me open it up to questions, comments.
K4
K4 PAD. Go ahead.
Well, I've been asked those questions before, and I also don't like it depends, even though I've used it. So now what I'm starting off is by asking is, what are they trying to do? What are their goals? What is their use? What is the philosophy of use?
And how do you explain that to somebody that, just got their license or is studying for their license, and they really don't know? What is, you don't know what you don't know. And when people first get into ham radio, or they first get licensed, lots of them have no idea they don't even know what to ask, because they don't know what the capabilities of ham radio are. That's kind of where I'm coming from. But what do you tell somebody who doesn't know how to answer, or what to even ask?
Well, I think we're normally where I start off is just asking, all right, so what do you want? Why do you want to get into radio? What is your mechanism? Do you want to talk locally, regionally, within your state, within your segment of the state, or the country or the country? What exactly are you trying to do? And that kind of brings up different things, of course, where folks are like, well, hey, I want to be able to talk with my neighbors and my friends, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. And you branch off from there. Okay, are your friends licensed? Are they not licensed? How far are they away? I mean, do they want to get licensed? So you start going down the road. I mean, okay. FRS, GMRS, ham license. Because you don't need to have a ham license to listen to MCOM. A lot of the traffic for MCOM now is all digital. And you can do that with a shortwave radio that's sideband, and just put it right into your laptop or your phone or something. You don't have to have a license in order to listen. And that's one of the questions asked. Are you there to listen? Are you there to participate? What exactly are you trying to do?
Yeah, good questions, good leading questions to ask. Let's see, the Hoss over on YouTube, he says to first try a local ham club. I really agree with that. That's what, when I first got my my ham license, I knew absolutely nothing about ham radio, and I got a hold of the local club there in Auburn, California. Those guys were great. Kind of took me under their wing, showed me what I was doing wrong. I wasn't doing much right at the time. Probably still not doing much right. And with that, yeah, the Haas also says, or find a local Elmer. Then check out videos. You know, that was interesting because when I first started, there really wasn't much in the way of videos, and YouTube wasn't really a big thing. Let's see. Let me call on somebody who is learning. He's on his ham radio journey. Terry, KJ7RAR. What say you, as a new ham and as somebody who's been in the hobby now long enough that you have an idea of what's going on?
It's KJ7RAR. Yeah, I got involved because a friend of mine wanted me to get involved, and when I finally had time to do it, I did. And I started going to the club and meeting with them. They have lunch every week, and got to know them. But also, I wanted to find out what radios. I didn't have the kind of money to just spend on radios, one after another. So, like for example, here where we live in Twin Falls, Yaesu is real popular. Where other cities, states, it may not be the same. So it's nice to buy something that I didn't have to buy something else and spend more money when I didn't really have it. But I was willing to ask a lot of questions. I didn't feel embarrassed. People, I don't know anything about him, though I know some, but I don't know anything compared to some of these guys that have been around it for 20 years. I'm not willing to explain about it, so I ask and learn. When it comes to antennas, I ask and learn and listen and what other guys are doing, and even go to their place and see how they're set up, and anything I can do to kind of grow in the knowledge of the radio. That's kind of how I did, especially the handheld and stuff like that, which is a good one to get, with not get, etc. Over. So it's taken a little time, and the big thing too is getting involved in a club. I think that's good, and especially if you have a club that can become active and enjoys young people.
I didn't know he wasn't
I'm not a
done.
young guy anymore, but
What
we
can I
need to
say?
open that up for young people and try to encourage them and help them wherever we can if somebody's new, and help them discover what kind of fun they could have and preparedness, etc. So there's a lot we can do with it. So that's how I kind of came through the journey, KJ7RAR.
All right. Thanks, Terry. Good insight from a fairly new ham. Let's see a couple of the comments here. Let me check out a couple of the comments. It sounds like, okay, from the messenger, it sounds like the guy is coming through your mic and OBS monitor at the same time. And he might have been. I was trying to get it to port into the port into my Rodecaster, which is the mixing board that I've got. The Meltcom says start local. Family and friends comms with GMRS. Learn how to use and talk with your HTs. Teach your kids. Also, join your local ham club and find an Elmer to help you. And K7CAN, he says there's so many avenues to run down with ham. You know, K7CAN, he's a new ham. And a couple of years ago, he came knowing absolutely nothing about ham radio. Came to field day, got himself hooked on ham radio, and now he is a POTA god. The guy is out there all the time, and he's running. He is one of the big dogs, I think, in POTA. So it kind of depends upon what you get yourself into, what interests you. But anyway, so one of these guys that I was talking with, he said his perspective was he wants to get his license in order to participate with his local AmCon group. Beyond that, he has no real interest in radio. AmCon is kind of a radio group. It's kind of a preparedness group. And this is real typical, I think. This is a very typical opinion in the prepping world. Oh, and this is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Anyway, yeah, it's a real typical answer from people joining organizations that either require or highly encourage getting a ham radio license. They want to do the bare minimum. They want to get the license. And then these are the guys that will very typically put that radio away. And they'll only use it when they have to use it for the organizational purposes. My inclination is to ask, what else are they doing for their preparedness journey? And I'm going to take preppers because that's what we're dealing with here. What other training are they getting? What other training are they doing, and how serious about it? Are they doing, medical training? Are they doing firearms training? Are they doing defensive tactics or food prep? And how much time and energy do these people put into all this other stuff? Pretty important question if you ask me, because you should be putting in at least as much time on training with your radio as you are doing firearms training, doing food prep training, or defensive tactics. And that's how I would kind of approach these folks, is they need to make it part of a whole training regiment. There's a few cops and ex-cops in this group, and military guys. And in the military, a lot of people like law enforcement or fire service, they've learned to use the radio. In ham radio, if you've never been a first responder, if you've never been a radioman in the military, you may not have any experience being on a two-way radio. And if that's the case, all of this is foreign to you. Now, in the case of, let's say, cop work, you're generally not programming your police radio, and I get that. But you've got a lot of experience talking on the radio. You know when to key up. You know how to talk. You're not stumbling for your words like I am right now. Let's see. I equate it back to getting a gun, and you immediately put that gun in your dresser drawer, and you leave it unloaded, let's say, or on an empty chamber, just in case. That's your justification for having a gun. It's just in case. Or you're going to a handgun safety or CCW course, you fire your 50 rounds, and then you don't touch the gun again for 2 years until you have to renew your CCW. I do like to tell all these people, and people who are fairly experienced with radio, radio is a perishable skill. The longer you're away, the more you're going to forget. I have a Kenwood D74. I used to use that radio daily. I used to use it all the time. I haven't used it in a few months, and I recently picked it back up. I forgot how to do half of everything on there. I'm finding myself breaking the manual open just to find out how to do things, simple things that I used to do, every day. And it's just because I haven't used that radio, I've lost those perishable skills. All right. Steel Wolf reminds me Idaho enhanced CCW 98 rounds at the range and a 4-year renew. Yep, I actually just last year got my enhanced CCW here in Idaho. In California, it's every 2 years. And I think they're trying to make it like every 6 months now. They just want to screw with people there. Let's see. I would, especially the people that have, well, you know what? Hang on here. Before, let me do the ID, K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net, and let me go ahead and open it up to the radio for questions, comments, or things I've left out. Yeah, Terry, go ahead.
You mentioned at the beginning about California's laws, basically trying to get guns taken away. And I think that's something we need to really consider. What is the purpose for the government wanting to take our guns away? We know it's not for safety-wise as far as shootings, mass shootings, etc. We know that many of these mass shootings could be prevented if they would do what was necessary. They don't want to do it because they need the mass shootings in order to have an excuse to take the guns away. So if it's not for protection, what is it for? Is it because they know that they're going to have a tyranny coming upon us soon and want to make sure that there's no guns? Is it because of the people coming over the border that will have opportunity to do the things they want to do if eventually they are terrorists, which we suspect many of them are, etc. So I think that's something that we need to keep at the forefront. You brought the question up about California. So it was just a thought. Why and what can we do to continue to prevent them from stopping us from holding our guns? KJ7RAR.
Yep. Thanks, Terry. That is, I think, the ultimate question in this country right now is how do we stop them from infringing on our rights? And that is our right. The Second Amendment is our right. They are trying to do everything they can to convince us that it isn't, or convince us to give up our rights willingly. And they've done a fairly good job in California of convincing a lot of the sheeple to give up their rights. And what becomes of them, of those sheeple, once they lose their ability to fight back? Great question. And that is at the very heart of the Second Amendment. Let's see. Let me look at a couple of the questions and comments here on YouTube on the live stream. And for those of you on the radio, I don't know if you're also watching the live stream on YouTube, but it is there. If you're getting your license so you could talk legally, just in case, it's no good. This is from Shell. Gotta practice, gotta know how to program and change it up. And he says he's guilty of not training enough himself. Find your local nets from KJ. Find your local nets. They have LDS nets Sunday night. They love guest check-ins. Here's something from a guy who is right now studying for his ham radio test. He's watching YouTube videos, learning about ham radio. He's studying for the test. He's watching Ham Radio Crash Course. Great resource for learning about ham radio. And he says he's just about ready to take his tech test. He has a GMR license and GMRS radios. And he bought them last year. Good. So you're getting some experience, and I don't know. It's CUCV Farmer. I don't know what your level of expertise is with the GMRS radios, or what kind of GMRS radios, but it would be if you're using them on a regular basis, you're probably getting fairly proficient with them. Hopefully you know how to program in repeaters, the GMRS repeaters, into those radios, and you can use them on some GMRS repeaters. Whoop. Okay, kind of sounds like I lost the repeater there for a minute. Let me go back in the CUCV Farmer. He's watching YouTube videos about ham radio, studying for his ham test, and he's about ready to take his tech test. My questions: he says he's got his GMRS license, and he's got GMRS radios right now, and he's had them for about a year. I'm wondering what his level of proficiency is with those radios, because, like I said, radio is radio. Police radio got me very comfortable with ham radio, or using ham radio. Didn't get me comfortable with screwing up antennas and doing some other stupid things. But so it'd be interesting to find out what his level of proficiency, or what he thinks his level of proficiency is. Alpha 6 Tango says you mentioned Amcon. Don't forget Amron. It's been around longer. Yeah, Amron is the American Readout radio network. Something that I've been really looking to look into more since I'm here in the American Readout. Thank you for that. Jeff Stang, KD8IOK. He says, when I know that I have friends that are interested in ham, he invites them to come check out his setup and suggests they go to a get on the air session if one is available. And that is a very, very great idea. I invite people, that's why I open up my place when I was doing like field day over here, or I was working in with the field day committee in the California group. I was always very big on the GOTA station and getting people on the air, getting non-hams to get on the air. I don't know how much I can emphasize that. Letting somebody sit down at a decent ham station and just letting them play. I know K7CAN, fairly new ham, but really into it. He's become kind of a wizard. I remember when he and his group of friends came over for field day, knowing nothing about ham radio. We kind of taught them the basics and put them on a radio and let them go. And they were there till midnight playing, and they haven't stopped yet. That was 2 or 3 years ago. Let's see. I would ask these guys about programming their programming in their group. Do they know, or if they even have a group of preppers or family in their area? When I talk to these guys about programming their Baofengs, it's a huge thing. Most people couldn't program their Baofeng if they absolutely had to. If somebody held a gun to their head, they couldn't program the Baofeng. And it's not that it's very hard, it's just that it's not intuitive at all. And I don't know why. But it seems to be the radio that everybody wants to go out and buy because it's $20 and you don't have to make much of an investment. Let's see. I'm just going to read this, because I write these outlines for these nets, guys. I don't just come up with this stuff out of my butt. Programming your radio in a group of preppers, yes. Okay, so part of things that you need to tell the new guys is programming your radio, programming it as part of a group, a neighborhood group, a family group, a prepper group, whatever. What if you're in a hot situation? And I'm going to say K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. And I'm going to let it drop for a second. I love to use this illustration. You're in a hot situation, and your radio frequency that you're on gets compromised, and the leader of your group says, "Hey, everybody tune to this other frequency, and here's the PL tone that we want to use, encode and decode." Can you do that on the fly? This will get 90% of all new hams and a lot of experienced hams, this will take them right down, and it illustrates right there the need to train. Let's see. Why would we need to get, or why would we want to use a ham license instead of GMRS, or vice versa? I'm going to ask that on the radio. Does anybody have? Now we're mostly all, well, we're all hams on the radio. So I'll ask that on YouTube. You guys can answer that. What are the advantages you would see of GMRS versus a ham license or a ham radio?
'88 IOK.
Jeff, go ahead.
I think I'd have to say versatility. I feel that GMRS is much more limited. We have a lot more freedom in the ham world. Section or Part 97 allows us to tinker, build, tweak, do things that GMRS radios just don't have the provisions to do. We can operate on much lower power on ham radio. We can operate on much higher power on ham radio. And the ham gives us the ability to actually reach out and touch someone. And that reach out and touch someone can happen even without repeaters. GMRS, without repeaters, you're not going to have the distance that you have with amateur radio. And I'd have to say that that's probably the biggest advantage that ham radio has.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ham radio has so many advantages over GMRS, but some of the quick things that I see as a benefit of GMRS over ham radio is the fact of very local communications, non-critical, non-tactical, I would say, communications. Is I take my neighborhood here. If everybody or nearly everybody here had a GMRS radio at home, they could turn that radio on. Say if the power goes out, if something happens that would alert them, you turn the radio on, and everybody in the neighborhood can then communicate with each other, especially if the phones go down. And that's never happened before, has it? The cell phones going down? I don't know. Can't remember that far back. It was I think over 2 weeks ago. Got a lot of comments coming in on the live stream side. Ham radio frequencies, there's literally hundreds of frequencies. I would say there's literally thousands of frequencies. From James Hannibal, KH2SR, he says ham or GMRS, FRS, MERS, CB is an okay place to start for those who are curious about radio but don't want to initially dedicate a lot of time or money. That's a great reason to start with, say, GMRS, FRS. MERS is a little bit more esoteric, or, well, less esoteric. It's a little bit more niche. You really have to know what you're looking for to want to get a MERS radio. And CB, they're out there too. I think they've lost some fashionability. The Meltcom, and I'm going to let this drop. Meltcom says, after many years of ham evangelizing, I have come to the realization that not everyone is going to get their ham license. GMRS is the next best alternative. Yeah, GMRS is like I said, a very good alternative to getting a ham license if you have no interest in it. And not everybody is going to have an interest in getting that ham radio license. Let's see. Steel Wolf says the Bufang radio, they are the Swiss Army knives of radio. It does ham, GMRS, FRS, it's a flashlight, and more. You can take two and make a repeater out of them. Yes, you can. Well, not a very effective repeater, but you can make a repeater out of them. But yeah, they do a lot for what they are. Do we have any other comments on the radio side? Okay, how about, let's see, one more question about what to or how to approach the new guys. What about the guy that says when crap hits the fan, he isn't going to need a license? Does he know anything about things like digital radio, where the transmissions can be so innocuous that most people won't even know that the information is being passed? And how do we encourage training with radios like we do with firearms or other prepping related events? I will ask the radio first. Any answers to any of those questions? How do we encourage all of those training things?
J7RR?
Terry, go ahead.
I think, especially if you're a new fella and people suggest things, it's really nice if when you suggest things, you're willing to mentor them in it. It's one thing to say, okay, you need to learn to program your handheld. It's another thing to say, let me show you how to do it, or let's open up the book and see what it says. Because a lot of things that you read when you're brand new, it's like, going over your head. So if you're trying to encourage somebody, be willing to help them until they're able to fly away on their own. KJ7RR.
Yeah, great advice. That kind of almost goes back to my kind of open invitation to get people on the air, get them talking on the radio, get them spinning the dials and playing with the buttons, and let them experiment. Let's see, couple more comments here on the interweb. James says CB recently gained legal FM use, and there are more modern CBs called the QYT CB58 with AM, FM modes. They would add legal sideband use. If they would add legal sideband use, CB would become more fashionable again. I tend to agree, and I'm curious about the new FM mode on on CB. Sounds like a fun time. Joe Nalduki says GMRS is the gateway drug to ham. 2 meters is the gateway drug to HF. It kind of is, or it can be, if it's presented right. And I think that's kind of a big deal, is how we're presenting the information to the new hams, the potential hams, the people who, and I direct this more toward the people who are getting a ham radio license for a specific reason, or to please a specific group that they're in or getting in. Let's see. The Miko Wolf. SHTF, they better know how to use the radio properly. That's where they can get somebody to do... oh man. I'm having problems reading that. I'm having problems reading, period. Been using FM for years on CB. That's from Peter, K4PAD. He's been using FM for years on CB. Okay, I haven't. Talks to guns. Look at this. License or no license, the person will need to experience to build skills needed to actually work and problem solve. There's no license group that will likely have the skills to work the radio. Or the no license group will likely not. No, they'll have enough, if a guy goes and gets a Bofang programmed by his ham buddy, he might have enough, he'll know how to press to talk, and that's about it. But he won't know when to press to talk. They'll be cutting each other off. They'll be doing stupid things, and you'll be doing stupid things when you can't afford to do stupid things. Right now we're all in good times and we can afford to make mistakes, but this is training. I mean, what we're doing right now, having this net, is training for something bigger, something more important, something more sinister. I don't know. Anything else from the radio side?
KF0 OHU comment.
KF0 OHU, go ahead.
I can kind of speak to the new ham experience. I've kind of only had my radio since December and just got licensed in November. I kind of jumped on Echo late the moment my license was valid, and my first contact was Melbourne, Australia, which I thought was cool. I just talked to the other side of the world right off the bat. But after that, a lot of it's been playing with the radio. I think I've reset it back to factory defaults several times. Try to make sure I can program it by hand, and I've been using RT systems with it as well, and try to figure out the features in that, where they line up in the radio. But a lot of it is just playing with it. And just last weekend, I got a couple high stars built up. And once I hopped on digital, I actually haven't done too much else, but digital's been a fun place to play.
Yeah, definitely. And, let me ask you a question. you recently got your license. Why did you get your license, and what got you to the mentality that you wanted to really get into it and do it for radio's sake?
For me, it was kind of a goal, probably starting back in '91. Our tech school had a class for ham radio. I just didn't want to learn CW, and I wasn't into logging. Still not into logging yet. With that, I got into scanners, so I've always been listening to frequencies. Before we went to P25, and I had to upgrade my scanner to something better, so I got a SDS 100 for that. Then I got into the ball phase because we do a lot of camping, so that gave us some local communications within the parks. And worked great for a little FM radio when I was out and about. From there I thought, we also had a GMRS license too. Then from there I just got more into it, and I didn't realize how much digital was actually involved in ham radio. I'm thinking the old style shack, and you're talking RF, but seems like the digital nets are where everybody's talking at right now. So.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the insight there. So there's from a fairly new ham with a little bit of radio background in the academic world. He took a class, so that I would imagine that that's what got you initially interested in radio. Well, if it was a college class, I would say you probably had to sign up for it. So curiosity, maybe.
For me, my family's always kind of been in the communication side. My parents worked my mom worked at the telephone company when they started out with Bell. And for me right now, my trade is I pretty much run a phone system for the University of Minnesota. And had a good team of people, but we have several different phone systems. Voice over IP's been big, and communications has always been high up on my what I like to do. And working with them, we also have our own piece up there, so I get to work with the emergency group over there as well. It's all just seems to tie into the field I'm in. So just another way to communicate.
All right, very, very cool. Thanks for the insight. Any other comments on the radio side?
comment?
Yeah, Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I want to just sort of reinforce something one of the, I think that was a KB7 station, sorry, I can't remember, made a comment about, with Elmers and people like that. Sort of a bit of a mantra that I've found in recent years that works, and something I'm sort of putting into practice with local air cadets that I'm actually coaching radio for. Which has been very satisfying, is this thing. A lot of people talk a good fight, and if you're a new person, it's basically death by information overload, and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got, this is the way to do it. And my mantra is simply, don't tell me, show me. Okay, so yes, people need to do something for themselves, but take the time to sit down, focus on an area, and go, look, okay, I'm going to show you how I do this. And then spend some time with that person. Not everybody learns in the same way, so you might need to, if you're from a trainer's point of view, you might need to invest time in what's the best thing that works for them. And also from a relatively new ham, 2016 I started, and our license structure is slightly different here, so we do have HF privileges at our lowest license, entry-level license, if you want to do that, albeit low power. But it's that if you're looking, it's a good question. What do you want to do in radio? And for me, it's a hobby. I'm looking at it from a hobby point of view, not the preparedness side. But of course, it's such a big sweet shot that you can go anywhere. But simply, I had a decision what was I going to buy my first radio? So I'm only going to buy one radio, which is obviously a lie because it doesn't work like that. But I looked at, I wanted an FTM 400, for instance, and it was the be-all and end-all. But then I swung to the 857 Delta because that's basically, it's a shack in a box. And I think that's the best thing. Whilst the radio options are limited for new equipment, have a look at. Don't maybe get sucked into obviously price is a thing, but try not to get sucked into going for the first thing you think. Really think about it, because my 857 is probably will always be my go-to radio, and the one that I consider my main radio. That's just some comments I've got. Back to you.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for that. That's awesome. And you just said the funniest thing that I think I've heard all morning when you said, yes, I told myself I was only going to buy one radio and that was it. And that's a lie. That is the biggest lie we tell ourselves, is I'm only buying one radio a month. Okay. Any other comments from the radio side? Well, guys, it has been a little bit over an hour, so I think we're doing good here. I think it's a good place to end the net. So I don't know if I'm gonna be on the net next week. Kind of depends. We're planning a little trip, so I may not be here. I'll let you guys know during the week, hopefully. Anyway. With that, does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? All right. With that, I'm going to say 7-3. I'm going to return all 15 nodes to their normal operation. I'm going to return the 3 or 4 repeaters to their normal operation. And I will say 7-3. Thanks for being part of the net, guys. And we'll catch you in a week or two. Don't know if I'll be on next week. So, with that, 7-3, guys. This K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. All right, guys.
7-3, Bob. Thanks for doing the net.
Hey, thanks for being part of it.
More than that, and realized I didn't know the proper etiquette. AC system fusion, and now you get command mode, and was actually causing issues. So I think I figured that all out now that the net's over. Just want to see if anyone can confirm that the mode I'm in now, which is not command mode, is working properly and not screwing things up.
It is working 100% now. I think you got it nailed.
Thank you, Bob. And I just have to thank you for your kindness. I'm sure that was especially frustrating for you and the other gentlemen trying to get things going this morning. And you all were super kind to a rookie with the AC System Fusion. So thank you for that. K9DGY. Loud and charge.
Yeah, hey, no problem at all. Actually, you helped us out quite a bit because it was something that I hadn't seen before. You were coming in off of another repeater, but you weren't coming in over mine. So I was hearing you on a different repeater and then talking to you from my repeater. I don't know how that worked out, but it did.
Well, thanks again. That's what it's all about, is first-hand learning, and usually it's through mistakes you learn the right way. So again, appreciate it, 73 Bob. Thanks for what you do. K9DGY.
All right, K9 DGY, K6 UDA. Thanks for being part of the net, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go fire up the after show live chat. I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna join voice. We've got a couple of guys already in the Discord, and let's see. Let me go through some of these comments here real quick and see what's going on. Oh, by the way, hey, I counted 60 in the live stream, 52 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. Thanks for the engagement, thumbs down. Let's see. From Idaho, 7-3 from Idaho, KE7RIP. Oh, that must have been Steel Wolf. Yep. So anyway, good discussion on CB. I haven't really thought about CB for a long time. I had one in the Jeep for a while, and I just recently switched that out for the Midland MTX or MDX 257, the 20-watt GMRS mobile, which is a very cool little radio. I'm going to do a something on that. Jamie Cossey just passed his tech and general. Oh, yeah. I know Jamie. Jamie's an AmCon person. And that is, and wants to effectively learn to effectively use ham in an SHTF event. Be able to walk into a station and know what she's doing. She's learning GMRS also. Well, Jamie, you just need to dive in. I would suggest maybe doing a few things that you hadn't really planned on doing. Now that you've got your license, maybe like joining a local ham club. I know where you're at. There is a local ham club. It's in that big, tall, what is it? What is it called? It's in Medford, down in Medford, the big apartment building right next to the freeway. At the top of that building, they have a huge ham radio shack, and they've got there's a ham radio club that meets there. I would suggest maybe getting in touch with those guys. Maybe going out to a field day, learning by doing, if you can. And congratulations on passing everything. Jeff, thank you for the log today. I have to start getting ready for the spud run, because we're kind of doing a little bit of running it from here, from Studio B. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes over on Discord. You guys are all welcome to come over and hang out on the Discord channel. And I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. I will say 7-3 to all you guys. Congratulations, Jamie. And 7-3 to everybody else. That is freaking awesome. I will catch you guys later.